and more with John Brown and Nick Durst, live on the UCY.TV network.
Everybody, it's February 22nd, 2017, and this is SPAM, Sports, Politics, and More. I'm your host, John Brown. I'm joined, as always, with my co-host, Nick Durst. Nick, how are you?
John, what's going on? Another big episode. So much to talk about tonight. We want to hear from you. You could try to give us a call. It probably won't work. 1-718-717-8296. But if you do want to talk, the best way is probably in the chat room, the UCI Lobby chat. You can either type to us there what you want to say, and if you want to call us, maybe type in there you're trying to call, and John will probably try to put you through. It's Big 10 at 10 tonight. We got the Oscars card up Sunday, so we'll go over predictions, and Andrew's going to talk about the top 10 movies from this past Oscar year. So that'll be from the Oscars in 2016 up till now. And we also got to talk about the NBA All-Star Weekend, which was a disaster, and the trade deadline and the terrible Knicks. So we have CJ Simmons joining us from Sports by CJ. Also happens to work for some sports franchises. So he's been on before, but he works with the group that owns the Wizards and the Capitals and the WNBA team down there in DC. And of course, we got to talk a little spring training, John. We got to talk about the Mets. But before I even start talking about that, John, we got some big news regarding the Mets and us for our listeners. Isn't that right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a busy week for us at least, and which is bizarre seeing how it's February. It's like the dead time. Football's over, baseball hasn't started. Our basketball team's terrible. So usually it's a real dead time for us. But yeah, this is really exciting. So me and Nick are going to start doing a weekly Mets podcast. I don't know too many of the details. Nick, what are some hardcore details about it?
So you can check us out at Elite Sports NY, ELITESPORTSNY.com. We're having a weekly, basically, just what John said, a weekly Mets cast. It's going to be called The Mets Cast, TMC. And this is just going to be your one-stop shop for all things Mets, basically. We'll be doing our logo soon. And the Mets cast will be bringing you a weekly look at the week that was in New York Mets baseball. So definitely look forward to that. That'll be more details to come on that at the start of spring training games actually happening, which is this weekend. But as spring training advances, we'll give you more thoughts on that. Otto in the chat says free Mets hats to the 79th caller. So go ahead. We'll have Andrew running the contest line up until the 10 at 10. Otto commenting that it was 83 today in Texas in February. And he says, I think this intro is a real song, not a royalty-free thing. Well, we've been good so far.
Well, no, I would say it's fair use. We're not pretending to use it. We're not pretending to play it or anything. I think it's fair use. They could probably get us, but
credit to the band who created this song. This is Alex Riley, a WWE wrestler, his entrance song. But yeah, that's the entrance song. So if you got a problem with it, give us a call or whatever. Hopper says, "Who are the Mets? They're the best. They're the best MLB franchise." But listen, John. The other actually big news is here this week was that 7 Earth-sized planets were found by NASA. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, my first thought is I hope that we don't start sending them fucking money because God knows we send money to everybody. My second thought is I read the article on the front page of Reddit about it, and it seems that they're like 244 million light years away or something. So they're really far away. So that kind of sucks. I guess it's kind of cool. Listen, I like any type of positive NASA news because, I think we should be funding money into it because that cutting edge stuff is what that kind of innovation breeds success. And it's one of the reasons that, a lot of the inventions that make our life better today were invented when, the initial space race in the 1960s. So I'm all about it. I can't wait for them to do a manned mission to Mars. I think that's going to be awesome. The discovery that they sent out to the edge of that galaxy like 10 years ago, that's really interesting stuff. I like all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, space is very fascinating. And now they say that 3 of these planets they found, and this is nuts that all of a sudden they find 7 planets, but 3 of them they found could be habitable, if that's a real word. So the question comes, John, you think of these 7 planets, there are other beings living on them?
Well, this is actually, we're kind of getting back to our roots. This is what Continuum Condition, the show that we took the place of, used to be all about. But one time when I guest hosted for Jonathan James Kramer, I actually interviewed a engineer that works for NASA, and the project he was working on was looking for, life outside of our solar system. Is there life outside of our solar system? Absolutely. But is it intelligent life, little green men, the way we think of it? Probably not. But the idea, if you think about it as like Homer or any of the great philosophers, it's endless, and there's so many possibilities that of course one of them has to be correct.
Well, I don't think there's going to be like you said, the Martians, but you could see like a lizard or something like that, some sort of reptile thingy. But now they're saying that they found these things 40 light years away. So how long would it take for the world, NASA, to even send like some sort of like thing there to take pictures or something like that?
To take pictures or something, that's a little different. The article that I read said that our fastest spaceship, it would take 244 years to get there right now. But now realize that the technology is stunted on speed because humans can only go so fast without killing us. If we send an unmanned probe there, we could send it a lot faster. So
right, that's what I meant. The unmanned probe that basically does a scan of the planet and you get images.
Yeah, that we could probably do that. I don't know. This is a complete guess, but I would say in the very near future. Why not?
All right, very very interesting stuff. And no surprise, the chat room is very interested in this. Otto's saying, I bet the planet with the least amount of oxygen would elect Bernie Sanders as president. I don't know. I don't really think this is political here. But yeah, very interesting stuff here in regards to the atmosphere, and it's just very crazy stuff to think what could be out there. Maybe we'll get Jonathan James Kramer on one of these weeks to talk about the world.
He was when he initially handed the show off to me. He wanted to do some stuff like that, but he moved to He moved to South Carolina, and I know that he's just like super swamped. So I actually haven't even been contacted with him. I should contact him and see if he wants to get on. But we got Andrew on now for our 10 of 10. We got our local alien, not illegal, has his papers.
The phenomenal one. Hey, Jay Pollock. Andrew, what's up?
Andrew.
Guys, can you hear me?
Yeah, Andrew was a little busy running the contest line looking for the 79th Mets caller. But, Andrew, it's time for your
79th Mets caller. I'm sorry. I'm about to lose it right now.
Tell everybody how many more callers we got to go. I think we're about 77 callers away from the person winning the Mets hat. But tell everybody what tonight's 10 of 10 is all about.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I will say what the 10 of 10 is right now so that way our listeners do not get confused. This week's 10 of 10 list, basically what I have come up with is my favorite movies from the year 2016.
Okay, so 2016 obviously is because the Oscars are this Sunday, and then after Andrew's done with the 10 of 10, he's going to stay on the phone for a little bit longer as the three of us are going to give our predictions for Best Picture, Best Actor, and Best Actress, and we'll take it from there. But Andrew, number 10, as always, you go 10 to 1.
All right.
Andrew promises me that after number 10, the list gets really good.
Yes, because number 10, yeah, all right. Quickly, I have to mention something very important that when I play this podcast later on, that, we have a podcast, I'm going to make sure that I correctly fill out my Oscar ballot, which I actually have one.
Excellent. And Andrew, tell everybody where you can find the podcast, the multiple platforms.
Yeah, our main, if you guys want to listen to this podcast, if you're listening to it now on YouTube, that's one way you can find us. It's ucy.tv on YouTube. And the ucy.tv website hasn't updated our podcast yet, which if they're listening, please update it. That's all we're asking.
And also available on iTunes, and check out the Knick Knack News Facebook page. It'll be shared there as well. But number 10, take it away.
knickknacknews.com. Right, thank you, Nick.
Yep, knickknacknews.wordpress.com.
All right, so one quick rule, Nick and John are always allowed to respond. So let's go with number 10, and I'm going to say Suicide Squad.
Okay, didn't see it, so I don't have a comment. I know Will Smith was in it and Margot Robbie. I heard Jared Leto wasn't that good as Joker. John, thoughts?
I don't think it's top 10. I've actually heard a lot of terrible reviews. Rotten Tomatoes and Reddit really killed the movie. I didn't see it, so I don't want to shit on it because sometimes reviewers are wrong. But,
all right, so we didn't say it. All right, so let's hear it. Now, Andrew promises the top 9 is just scintillating, like sizzling hot. But all right, number 9.
Quickly before I go into number 9, I have to quickly say the reason why I picked Suicide Squad at number 10. Obvious reason. Better movie than Batman versus Superman. I will admit that.
I would disagree, but again, I didn't see the movie. So number 9.
All right. Now, I want to quickly mention that the next 4 movies are animated, so I hope you guys don't get too upset about the movies.
So there's a good shot John has seen all 4 of them with his daughter.
Yeah, I'm really into animated movies. That's the thing, but I will quickly note I have not seen Sing yet, but I will see it if it's available on Blu-ray torrent. So here we go. Number 9, The Secret Life of Pets.
Never heard of it, John.
It's like it's what it is. You remember that movie with John Travolta in the late '90s called "Look Who's Talking Now"?
Oh,
it's very much like
movie.
that. Or the movie in the early 2000s called Cat First Dog. It's cute. The toys are nice. My daughter likes it. I agree. It's an entertaining movie.
All right, number 8.
All right, number 8. a movie that got snubbed for an Oscar nomination this year in the animated category. Finding Dory.
I saw it. It was pretty good. John?
Finding Dory? Yes, very, very good. It's actually in the rotation, one of my daughter's favorite movies. So I've seen it like 70 times in the last
Sure.
year. So I can probably tell you everything about it. Al Bundy plays the octopus. Very entertaining. There's a lot of like subtle adult humor in it. Good movie.
All right. Next up, Andrew.
All right. So we're going to go with number 7. And number 7 is Zootopia.
Did not see it.
I didn't like Zootopia. I thought Zootopia had like strange political, like globalist undertones to it. Like it was just they made the movie into something that it didn't need to be. I didn't like it.
Alrighty. Next up, Andrew.
I have to disagree with John. I love the plot. It made sense. I do have to agree. Too much politics. I do agree with you on that.
Yeah,
Not
for a
to
kid's
mention
movie, like I
inflection.
went to see it so my kid could get a laugh, not to hear about your liberal bullshit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Maybe it's more meant for adults. I will agree with you on that. All right. I'm going to say this is actually my favorite animated movie of the year. Number 6, Moana.
The Rock says it's a good movie, but I didn't see it. I heard it's good though. John?
You know what? I actually haven't seen it, but I have heard good things. Gotten very good reviews.
All right, so we'll approve of it being on the list. Next up, Andrew, back to some live action.
Yes, 5 through 1 will be live action, I promise. All right, so number 5, The Jungle Book.
Ooh, like it. I like it a lot. The Jungle Book is originally an American classic. It's a lot of people of our generation will know it because of the Disney movie that was very popular when we were kids. But the Jungle Book was originally a cornerstone of literature. It's a very good book. And the movie, live action, it tells the story that the animated one does, but there's no songs or anything. They kind of got back to the roots. I've read the book, Jungle Book. It's very good. I highly recommend it. The movie is really good too. The animation, it's not really animation, it's like digital, effects are excellent. So highly recommended. Good call.
See, I'm just like not really big into these live action remakes. Like Beauty and the Beast is going to be a disaster. Why are they doing that?
It very well may be a disaster.
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
I am seeing it on opening weekend.
Andrew's going to see it. He's going to be the first in line camping out. He loves Emma Watson. But
No. I'm seeing it on Saturday night with my friends on
right,
the 18th.
he's going to wait a day. There we go. Andrew is be covering that movie from the field. And if you want to know about that movie, check out Andy's randomness on Twitter. He'll probably tweet about it. Next up.
I have to quickly mention, Otto so far hasn't heard any of the movies from 10 to 6, but he did see the Jungle Book movie, and he liked Baloo the Bear, very good singer.
There we go. All right, number 5.
That was number 5.
Yeah, exactly. So now we're up to number 4.
Yes, thank you. So I saw this movie, believe it or not, on my 21st birthday weekend. And number 4, we're going to go with Doctor Strange.
Not sure I heard of it.
It's a Marvel movie. I haven't seen it, but I did want to see it. It's the actor who played Doctor Who, and like as far as like online fanboy things, it actually gets quite a bit of love online. So it's probably pretty good.
All righty. All right. Next up, Andrew.
All right. Number 3, Star Wars, Rogue One.
Nope, shouldn't be on the list. John, what do you think?
Didn't see it, but from all their nonsense, like I said earlier, I don't want to hear about your political bullshit. Tell me about Star Wars. You know what I mean?
Yeah. All right. Next up, Andrew. Number 2.
I have to disagree with John now because as a Star Wars fan, I understood the movie right at the end. Like most of it was like, what's going on? And then at the end, I'm like, oh, now I get it. So yeah, there's that. All right, number 2, Captain America: Civil War.
I would say it's probably not a top 2 movie of the year. I didn't see it though. John?
I saw it. I didn't even like. I don't think it's a top 2 Captain America movie. I did not like it. It was, it's a comic book movie, so it is what it is. But
I guess it was cool that all the characters are in it, but shouldn't it have just been called the Avengers?
I didn't like the plot. That's probably why I didn't like it, because I normally do like those movies. They're kind of like turn your brain off, just watch them. But the plot was bizarre to me for whatever reason.
All right. Well, I will be sure not to check it out. So, number 1, Andrew.
Oh boy, Otto said he saw it.
Otto saw Captain America. All right.
I
can't be. Interesting. All right.
That's what tells you about that movie, I guess.
Number 1, Andrew, before we start yelling at you for some movies you're missing from the list.
All right. Number 1, La La Land.
Now, this movie apparently is great. I didn't see it. I know John definitely didn't see it.
I don't see musicals. I'm heterosexual, sorry.
Anyway, so Andrew, I gotta ask you, because you told me you loved this movie, and I saw the movie and I thought it was amazing, and it was Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. Why was that on your top 10?
Holy crap, I forgot to add it. Oh no.
That's it. We got a new field reporter for the movies, John. Have everybody in mind.
Yeah, you know what though? I hear good things about that movie. But one thing about La La Land that makes me want to actually go see it, I was listening to Imus in the morning today, and apparently Kareem Abdul-Jabbar came out and said that La La Land is racist. Did you guys hear about this?
What?
It's only the social
Hollywood area? Oh my gosh. We're going to talk about La La Land in a second, but Andrew, you have any honorable mentions? And they were very excited to see the McDonald's movie.
Oh yes, I haven't seen it, but I really am excited to see The Founder, because it basically explains the story of how McDonald's was founded, obviously.
Yeah, so that had a lot of buzz. I don't know what happened, but so that's Andrew's top 10. Is there any movie that you can think of, John, that definitely should have been on this list that he, for some reason, didn't even think to put on his honorable mention list?
These are movies I've seen.
I'm sure, and Andrew, I'm sure you saw the documentary Wiener in 2016 about your former Congress.
Oh, here's the thing. Dang it, I should have put that on the list.
Oh my gosh. I mean, what kind of list is this? You can't remember any movie that came out. You've seen so many movies this year. How about Sully? Sully should be on this list.
I haven't seen Sully, but I have it available to watch.
Sully, you gotta see. Don't even think twice about it. Go watch Sully.
Definitely will. It's on my wish list. I have it already on my PlayStation 3, ready to go.
There you have it. All right, so that was the top 10 movies from Andrew. Now, obviously, 8:30, we got CJ coming up to talk a little hoops, but we're going to give our predictions real quick here. So I'm going to read off. This is how it's going to work, guys. I'll read off the nominees, and then you can we'll go one at a time. We'll start with John, and then we'll go to Andrew. Tell me who's going to win. Don't go too in-depth, though. We only got 6 minutes. Academy Award for Best Actor, and the nominees are Andrew Garfield, Ryan Gosling, Denzel Washington, Casey Affleck, and Viggo Mortensen. John, go ahead.
I want it to be Viggo Mortensen because I like him, but it's probably going to either be Denzel because they had all the controversy last year about the Oscars so white. But I don't know. It might also be Casey Affleck. I haven't seen that
Manchester by the Sea. All right. So Andrew, what do you think, man?
Well, I'm gonna be honest. Fences is basically about black people spending most of the time in their room. I like Denzel Washington. He's made better movies, but this one, he's not going to win Best Actor. So, honestly, I'm going to say that Ryan Gosling is going to win Best Actor.
All right.
Really?
I like that you were honest there, Andrew. Yeah, I think Ryan Gosling is probably going to win because he had to do more in his movie than the other people because he had to freaking sing and dance. So I would give him the slight edge there. But it should be a close. I think it's going to come down between him and Casey Affleck. But we'll see. Now we got Best Actress. All right, and we'll go with John first again. What?
I know who I'm going with.
Yeah. All right. Andrew's going with Emma Stone. But so we won't even ask him. But the nominees are Emma Stone, Isabelle Huppert, Ruth Negga, Meryl Streep, or Natalie Portman. Now, let's not get political here, but hopefully Meryl Streep doesn't have another opportunity to make a terrible speech. But Andrew, you're going with Emma Stone?
Definitely Emma Stone. I did not know she was a great singer until this movie came out.
Emma Stone, very talented actress. I'm going to say she wins as well. And John?
Listen, Emma Stone's fucking sexy, but I don't think she's going to win. Only because musicals, even though it's probably going to win Best Picture, but musical acting and musicals isn't really like the top of the top. I'm going with Natalie Portman.
Ooh, Natalie Portman. See, the reason why I think musicals win is remember when Les Mis came out, Anne Hathaway won. She was in the movie for like 5 minutes and she won Best Supporting Actress. But
the difference is Les Mis is like a serious musical, however stupid that sounds, because it's about like, redemption and blah, blah, blah. La La Land is very much like, oh, they're stealing the jazz.
I actually did enjoy Les Mis. I thought I had to watch it for class. And it was pretty interesting because I'm a big history guy, so I didn't even know that it was like a historical thing.
She also shaved her head for it, so that whenever an actress does something,
the fact that Hugh Jackman didn't win Best Actor for that is nuts because he had to do so much acting wise, where he had to change his actual body so many times. Like he had to start off like shriveled up, skinny, and he lost all his weight to do that. Then he got jacked up again, back into Wolverine shape. And then he had to look old, and it was like, just how do you to commit so much to a role and you don't win? Nuts. And Logan's coming out this Friday, so Andrew's gonna give us a review on that once he sees it as well.
I'm not seeing Logan, and it actually doesn't come out for another week.
Okay, next week. I thought it was March 3rd. And now finally, we got 2 minutes here. The nominees for Best Picture are Arrival, Lion, High or Hell Water, Hidden Figures, Moonlight, Hacksaw Ridge, Manchester by the Sea, Fences, and La La Land. I think La La Land's going to win for everything I've seen. I got to be honest, I haven't seen one of these movies. John?
I think it's going to be Fences because white guilt is at an all-time high, but I think Manchester by the Sea should win.
Okay, and Andrew?
La La Land. Again, Fences is sort of boring. It's like, oh, we're going to talk about black people being in a room most of the movie.
Okay. All right, guys. You guys are making this.
However, Viola Davis is going to win Best Supporting Actress.
All right. Well, we don't have time to talk supporting actresses, but you want to say Viola Davis. I can't stand her. She's so annoying to me. I would prefer Octavia Spencer wins supporting actress. And we'll see. Andrew's going to give us a recap. He's going to give us the top 10 next week, moments from the Oscars. Andrew, thanks for your time tonight, man.
All right. You guys have a good rest of the show. Enjoy the Oscars on Sunday, everybody. And I will recap it for you next week, March 1st. Until then, take care, everybody.
All right,
Andrew. So there you had it. Andrew over there. This guy loves his movies, John.
Yeah. His movie picks are not. They certainly don't go by box off revenue or anything.
Yeah, remember his video game picks once? But I was just all over the place.
They were obscure, which you know what is probably good because if they're not obscure, you hear the same nonsense over and over again.
Yeah, Otto says he'd like to see the McDonald's movie And Big Eater says, I have the feelings it's the usual Hollywood sanitized version of a big businessman. And Alice says, doesn't look like that. Like Big Eater says, just like those Steve Jobs movies that came out and didn't admit he was stealing patents left and right. That's very true. They made Steve Jobs look excellent. They made 2 movies about him within the span of like a year, which was nuts. So Oscar Sunday. Might watch a little bit of it, but we got Andrew, a field reporter, to give a 10 of 10 next week, the top 10 moments, much like he did with the Grammys this last week. All right, but John, we got the big thing going on tomorrow in sports world, the NBA trade deadline. Hopefully the Knicks make some moves, but let's bring on our next guest here, and he's joining us now. And welcome to the show, CJ. What's up, man?
Hey, what's up? How you guys doing?
We're doing well, and for our listeners who might not remember the last time you were on, why don't you give them a little background on yourself and where you work and where they can find you on social media, and I think you have a new podcast as well.
Yeah, so I'm CJ Simmons. I currently work for Monumental Sports, or the owners of the Wizards, Caps, Mystics, Valor, Brigade, and we own a lot of teams now, so I'm there now working with corporate partnerships and a business intelligence type of role. And so I went to NYU for grad school with Nick. And so we, we're there and study sports business and, had a chance to enter a number of different places like MSG and the Mets and the Yankees and such. So, I'm pretty well-rounded in sports.
And listen, guys, nobody has seen more Wizards games this year than CJ. I mean,
sorry to hear it, man.
Hey, the Wizards been looking good. I'm actually going to write a new article pretty soon about how the Verizon Center is the place to go for all things sports. It's actually an exciting place there with the Wizards doing well. The Capitals are record-wise best team in the league, and so and we have a new arena football team, the Valor, starting in April, and the Mystics just got Elena Delle Donne. So exciting things are happening at the Verizon.
Yeah, that was a steal for the Mystics to get her.
Yeah.
Now you attend all the games. How do you secretly go about rooting for the Knicks or the Rangers while you're in your office building, essentially?
Well, I think generally in sports, what I've seen is it's understood that people may have their own preference of teams. Like everyone didn't grow up in the same area, and everyone didn't grow up a fan of the team that they work for. So I think that's the first thing. The second thing is, I don't wear any Knicks paraphernalia or any other team's paraphernalia when I'm at work, or even if I'm coming to visit, or even when the Knicks played, I didn't wear anything Knicks related. The closest thing I wore was a All-Star game hat that was that was in New York. So, but nothing, I don't wear anything. I don't, disrespect the organization like that. But also at the end of the day, you want the success of the team that you're working for. So, it's also not that much of a conflict of interest. It'd be different if, I don't know, the Knicks were better than they are. They aren't really good at all. So I like watching good basketball, and the Wizards are playing good basketball right now. So they had the longest home winning streak. At one point in time they won 17 in a row. So I have no ill will against the Wizards. So I'm actually root for them to do well. But obviously my heart lies with the Knicks. But no, it's no ill will for either team.
So you mentioned good basketball and you mentioned the All-Star game, and those are two things that don't go together. But let's talk about the whole weekend as a whole first. I'm sure you were watching, many of us were. The Futures game, Rising Stars Challenge, the World won, I believe. Porzingis played great, and then they just they kind of rested them towards the end. So that was an okay game. The celebrity game I didn't really watch this year. Not too many good people there playing. But let's talk about the All-Star game Saturday night. You first had the skills challenge, which I actually thought was the best part of the weekend, and Porzingis won. Did you watch that, or what did you think of that competition?
I did watch that. It's interesting that big men have won the last 2 years. So that, I mean, it shows you where the NBA is at now and how skilled the big men are. I mean, you look at in the 90s, that would have never happened. Big men winning skills challenge like that. A lot of it boils down to, which they were saying on TNT. A lot of it boils down to who's going to hit the 3-pointer, who hits the 3-pointer first. But Porzingis looked good out there. I mean, he had the pass into the net. He did that, I think, on the first try, and then one of the matches that he had, one of the events that he had, he hit the first three, and the guy that he was going up against hit the three like right after him off the backboard.
Yeah, it essentially came down to the 3-pointer every single round.
Exactly. So I'll hope that they maybe switch that up a little bit, like add the 3-pointer and add something else. But it actually does, show a lot of different skills, the dribbling, the how fast you can run, passing. It incorporates a lot. But I wish that they would kind of expand that a little bit, make the obstacle course maybe a minute long. I mean, because it's so much you can do, and it was actually very interesting. I beg to differ that it was the best. I actually enjoyed the 3-point contest the best.
All right,
but
so let's
I think second was the skills challenge.
So the 3-point contest. I was disappointed that Curry didn't even participate. To me, it just didn't make any sense. But I was really shocked that Klay Thompson didn't win. How about you?
I wasn't necessarily shocked. I mean, he didn't make the cut by one 3-pointer. I think he had 18 and Kemba had 19, and a few other people I think had 18. So he just missed the cut. So he was close enough. I mean, that could happen, to anybody. But I wasn't too shocked. If he was last, I would have been shocked at that. But not exactly where he fell. But Eric Gordon, he has the type of shot that you need in a 3. I mean, it's just like the set. It's almost like a set shot, and it's the same shot every time. I mean, he didn't look like he was using a lot of energy as well. So most of the other guys, they're taking jump shots and they're using a lot of their energy. So he looked really good out there. I think, and that's, part of the reason why he won, or was at least in the top, tier. But I was in this same regard, I guess I was rooting for New York. I rooted for Porzingis in the skills challenge. In this one, I was rooting for Kemba Walker, who's from the Bronx, but went to high school at Rice High School in Harlem. So not too far from my house. So, but he made it to the finals. He didn't win, but I enjoyed it a lot. I mean, it was, it's still a lot of guys that were in the tournament that are really good shooters. So I thought it was pretty enjoyable. And then I feel like at the end, it went down to the last 2 shooters. So that was pretty cool as well.
Yeah, and a guy who could definitely win the 3-point competition, but is in the league, former New York Knicks great, Jimmer Fredette dropped 73 in China this weekend. Did you hear about that?
I did hear about that. So I don't know if this is how well this is known, but Stephon Marbury is my favorite basketball player. And when I brought that up to this, I'm in a sports chat. One of my friends asked me if he dropped that on Stephon Marbury, and I said definitely not. But to see that, Jimmer Fredette, when he has the green light and he is the go-to player, he can put up a lot of points. Now, I think he can still do the same in the NBA, but he won't be the go-to player. It's a guard-driven league, but he isn't that type of guard to, do that against NBA players. Also, his defense is, I mean, he would just get destroyed in the NBA. So he can definitely play. He has game, but in the D League and in China, he can do outrageous things like that.
So obviously in China, Stephon Marbury is like Michael Jordan over there, multi-time champ,
right?
Greatest player of all time. They love him there, and rightfully so. He's a very good player. The thing with Jimmer Fredette is last year he destroyed it. He just killed it in the D League with the Westchester Knicks. They finally call him up. And Rambis would only play him for like a minute at the end of each game. And he'd come in and just hit a quick 3. I don't understand why last year in this awful season, Rambis didn't want to play him at all a few minutes to see what he could do. And now we're stuck with Rambis as the defensive coordinator, and he's terrible at that too. But Jimmer could be in the NBA. You just bring him in for instant offense off the bench. I don't understand why you wouldn't want that.
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing of an NBA team picking him up. It's another thing for the Knicks to actually make smart decisions.
Yeah,
I'm not sure. You know, I think a lot of players actually get a bad rep, and that kind of is it for them. You look at, in just all sports, you look at Vince Young. I mean, he's trying to make a comeback.
Vince Young
probably won't come back, but he should be in the league. He has a chance. But then you look at other guys, just NBA-wise. I just saw Ben Gordon is trying to make a comeback. I didn't even realize he was not in the league anymore. But Ben Gordon, Nate Robinson, how are these guys in the league? But
Nate Robinson has been so good over his career. And then all of a sudden nobody signs him. Doesn't make any sense. And Vince Young is one of the winningest quarterbacks of all time in the NFL, winning percentage-wise. All the guy did was win. And there's so many bad quarterbacks. Makes no sense.
I think the other thing is, you look at a guy like Sasha Vujacic, who I am not a fan of at all. And how is he on a roster? It just doesn't make sense where these guys that I just mentioned can actually play. Right. So I think they just get a bad rap, and after that, that's pretty much it. They teams don't want to sign them anymore, and they're out the league or they're in the D League, and their career is over NBA-wise.
Absolutely, and it's a real shame that some of these guys get overlooked. It doesn't make any sense. And then then we got the slam dunk contest. In one word, how would you describe it? I would say terrible.
Disappointing. I guess coming off of last year, and I guess every year we sort of go through this cycle. Vince Carter took the air out of the dunk contest when he was in it, a number of years ago. But we've had some decent ones. Nate Robinson was in some. And then we had last year. I think last year was arguably the best dunk contest we've had since Vince Carter. It was very, very good. And then this year it just wasn't the same. But even looking at it at the Vince Carter time, there was about eight dunkers in the tournament back then. Now there's only 4. There's been 4 the last 2 years, but but there was a lot of dunkers. There was T-Mac, it was Vince, it was Steve Francis. It was, I can't even think of all the other guys that were in it, but I'm sure there was about 8 people. Now it's only 4, so I don't know. It really doesn't. It's not as exciting. But even as you said about the 3-point contest, it's not the same when you don't have certain people in it. We all know about LeBron being in it, and then him saying he's going to be in it the following year, and then backing out.
Remember when he lied about that? That was ridiculous. But Giannis Antetokounmpo could have been in it. I don't know why. The guy's 21. Come on, he could have been. Porzingis could have been in there.
Yeah. These guys. And Giannis was putting on a lot of dunks for the All-Star game, which I guess we'll touch on next. But
on a show in the All-Star game. And real quick before we talk about the game itself, the dunk contest. Next year maybe they should do like an old timers event. Have bring back Jordan, let him take on Kobe and Dominique. I'm sure these guys could still dunk. Bring the rim down to like 9 feet. That would be very entertaining. All right. So
it would be. However, we know Jordan doesn't like to do, or Kobe doesn't like to participate anymore in those types of events unless you pay them a lot of money.
Very, very true. Very true. And now the game, I don't know. John, what did you think? I thought it was a disgrace because this year more than ever, there was literally no defense played at all whatsoever.
I gotta say, I never really liked the All-Star Weekend just because of that reason. It's like a pickup game almost. But this year was really the one cool. Did you see the alley-oop between Durant and Westbrook? So they were back on the court together. That was cool. Yep. But that was basically that minute that they played on the court together was the highlight. It was cool, but the rest of it was just pickup game. I tell you, I miss Kobe. because I think Kobe is one of those guys who doesn't like losing, even if the game means nothing. So he would play harder and like push the other guys. Now there's like too much, it is what it is. It's not as bad as the NFL Pro Bowl, but it's getting there.
Hey, the NFL Pro Bowl was like a field goal game this year, like very low scoring. So, but CJ, what did you think of this game?
I completely agree. I thought it was a lot of, it was obviously a lot of dunks and not any defense or anything like that, which happens every year. But I'm fine with that, and I'm fine with players just sort of showboating. But I think in other years, some things that it had, like you said, it did have competition in the fourth quarter, which that didn't really happen this year. I think the other thing is, some All-Star games, you see players going at each other. Players would want to go at Kobe, or Kobe would want to guard someone, and they would go back and forth. There was a little bit, I can't remember who it was. There was a little bit between two of the players, I think, but it was short-lived. However, I just like, the players just going out there, getting dunks, doing alley-oops. But I do miss that All-Star game. I think it was maybe 2000, 2001, something like that. It was in D.C. That year as well, probably the MCI Center at that time. But it was when the East was down, I think 14 in the fourth quarter, and Iverson and Steph Marbury brought them back, and they won. Iverson brought them back into the game. Say it again?
Who else but Stephon Marbury? I mean, this guy was legit.
I know. I mean,
top point guard in the league.
I know. He hit two big threes to seal the game, and ironically, he was guarding Kobe. I watched a little bit of the highlights of that game recently. He was guarding Kobe, who's a lot bigger than him, and Kobe hit a lot of the last shots, and it was really intense. Right. Watching that game. I mean, even another game you mentioned Kobe in the Jordan game, in Jordan's last game or his last Bulls. Oh no, actually his Wizards last game. He hit the winning shot, or supposed to be winning shot, and then Kobe went down and scored, and the game went into overtime. So it wasn't another like Jordan highlight, as his end of his Bulls career. But it was very interesting.
Unfortunately, the game's never going to be the same, and I couldn't believe how they just didn't even care that Anthony Davis was dunking on them. Like, there was no defensive effort. They could easily stop him from breaking the record, like did it to Paul George. But as far as I'm concerned, the best player on the court was Russell Westbrook. He would have had 60 points if he played the rest of the fourth quarter. He got pulled because they didn't want to have him out there with Durant. Did he really impress you? Him and Giannis were the most impressive to me.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, Giannis is. I mean, his name is accurate. Greek freak. I mean, this guy is incredible, and he's still so young. I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing watching him play, and just and seeing him on that level. His first All-Star game, and just being out there and not looking afraid, just willing to go out there and play and get his highlights and his dunks. Yeah, he belongs. So I enjoy it. And Westbrook always is, he always has that mentality of, going out there to looking for blood and, finding points, and he's just so aggressive, and right. I love the way that Russell Westbrook
definitely
plays.
Love the way he's been playing this year. Someone who did not play a lot in the All-Star game was DeMarcus Cousins. Got traded to the Pelicans. Now, what is your take on this trade? Who is the winner of this trade?
Oh, easily the Pelicans. I mean, the Kings just it was brutal what happened to them in this trade. But so I think the Pelicans win now. Sorry.
I totally disagree. And John, let you chime in. I think the Kings won this trade. Cousins was just killing the team chemistry-wise. He's had players around him over the years. He couldn't win. He needs the ball in his hands the whole time. He got 6 coaches fired. And, what else could they have gotten for him, really? They got a first-round pick and Buddy Hield. I think Buddy Hield's going to be really good. Maybe I'm just too high on Buddy Hield. Shout out to the Bahamas. I think he's a fantastic young point guard. John, who do you think won this trade?
I got to disagree with you here. Normally, I'm all on board with guys who are cancers, getting them out of there because basketball is so much a chemistry sport. But here's the difference. The difference really comes down to the fact that I'm not ready to write off Cousins yet. He has had, the lead in technicals and fragrance, and he's been a little bit of a head case. He's only 25 years old.
Right, but he's going to be a free agent this summer now. You think he's going to re-sign in New Orleans?
No, next year. Next
year.
Next summer, he's a free agent.
Yeah,
I think he has one more year. He has one more year left. So they have another year with him.
Well, here's the thing.
If I'm not, I'm pretty sure that's right.
As of now, the Pelicans are the 11th seed, okay? The Kings are the 9th seed. I would love for the Kings to get in instead of the Pelicans. But I actually think neither are going to get in. So the Pelicans got to jump the Trailblazers, the Kings, and the Nuggets. CJ, you think this could happen? Because I don't think Davis and Cousins are going to play well together because both guys need the ball at all times, and they don't have any guards to help them out.
Yeah, I mean, they have. I mean, is Drew Holiday still there? I mean, they still have players, but those two big men. I mean, I don't know how you're going to stop them, and they're not the. I mean, they can both post up, but they can also hit the outside shots. They are adaptable to the league how it is in its current state, as I was saying with the skills.
Plus, they got Omri Caspi come off the bench now to fill in with them. But here's the thing: if they win, they're gonna obviously they'd probably be like the 8th seed. Maybe they can get up to the 6th seed. They're gonna have to play small ball basically because they're gonna be going against the Warriors or the Rockets. There's no way that Cousins is going to be able to come out to the perimeter to guard people. So, I mean, we know they're not going to beat the Warriors. Did they make the playoffs this year? I don't know, but it's going to be tough. What is your assessment on Buddy Hield, though? You think he's like a player that the Kings can build around?
Nah, I don't think Buddy Hield is that type of player. I think Buddy Hield is going to be a really good player. I mean, I've seen him in college and what he did, especially last year. But I just don't have that much faith in Buddy Hield as being the man and the go-to player. And I agree that when you have a cancer like that, it's good to – I understand moving him, but, I mean, he's arguably the best big man in the league. You'd have to get more for him than that. I mean, I don't know. I'm not really high on that trade for the Kings.
But I thought the Wizards might wanted to get him. Maybe they said he's not going to be good in our locker room. I don't know. But listen, the big NBA news is the trade deadline's tomorrow. Lots of trade possibilities. The Cavs want to get somebody. Will Jimmy Butler be moved? Will the Celtics get him? Because if the Celtics get Jimmy Butler, CJ, I actually think that they could beat the Cavs.
I mean, the Celtics are in arguably the best position to win a championship, whether going forward, like this year, by trading some of their picks,
they're going to have
in the future. They have a lot of picks
too from the Nets.
Yeah, yep, exactly. So they are in an amazing position. So if I was them, I wouldn't really trade. I mean, unless you're going to get like a box office player. I wouldn't really even get Jimmy Butler. I would pass on him. I would just keep the team that you have, play it out, and then go through the draft. Get who you're going to get. I mean, they have a lot of drafts.
Right.
So
unless
you're going to get someone big time.
They have the Nets. They have the Brooklyn Nets picks for the next 2 years. So definitely in a good position there.
Yep.
Now this is what I really wanted to have you on, CJ. I know you like the guy, but me and John are dying to know: can the Knicks trade Derrick Rose tomorrow? Is anybody going to want him?
Well, I mean, the reports are, saying. I mean, I've kind of tuned out a lot of the reports because I'm getting more alerts about rumors than I am about facts. So, however, the reports are saying or suggesting that Minnesota is very interested in Derrick Rose, and the Knicks are very interested in Rubio, and they're still working on that. I personally, like I said, like Derrick Rose, and I want him to stay, but I'm not sure what's gonna happen.
I think Ricky Rubio would be perfect for the Knicks. Pass first guy, plays great defense. That's the type of point guard the Knicks need, especially in the triangle where they don't really value the point guard. You need someone who can play defense. John, would you be happy getting Ricky Rubio for Derrick Rose?
Listen, I would trade Derrick Rose for a bag of basketballs. So, yes, of course. Rubio's not the same player he was before he tore his ACL a couple years ago, but he's still, a poor man's Rondo, almost. I think we should trade Derrick Rose to his mom so he can go hang out with her when he doesn't want to play.
Derrick Rose is missing. I can't believe that was never addressed, though. But anyway, you can't call him D Rose because there ain't no D being played by him. And he is crazy if he thinks he's getting a max deal. He's just nuts. All right, CJ, it's been a lot of fun. Thank you so much for coming on, and hopefully we'll have you on again in a little bit.
All right, thanks for having me, guys. Have a good one.
Thanks, CJ.
Thanks, CJ. There you have it, CJ Simmons, Sports by CJ. You can check him out on Facebook and Twitter at Sports by CJ. John, let's hope Derrick Rose is gone. Real quick here, first Mets spring training game this Friday. What are you hoping to see out of this weekend's games? I'm just hoping to see nobody get hurt.
Exactly. I don't want to see Terry Collins mumble through a press conference about somebody who's going to be day-to-day who ends up on the 60-day DL. I'm always a worrywart, and I'm always a naysayer. Even when the Mets were in the World Series, I was like, bah, humbug, Injuries, this team has some problems, and I know that re-signing Cespedes was a great moral victory for us, if you will, but David Wright is Mr. Glass, and we have to address what his role is going to be on this team prior to breaking camp. Darno's window of being able to, quote unquote, be the guy is, it's expiring every day. Starting pitching wise, I think we'll be all right if we can avoid injuries, but we're really going to miss Bartolo Colon, man. He threw 200 plus innings.
He'll be back.
We're gonna sign Kelly Johnson and then trade him to Atlanta for Bartolo Colon. Well, I don't know why we didn't re-sign him.
The Braves are going to sign Kelly Johnson.
Why didn't we re-sign Bartolo Colon? He didn't get a big deal at all.
He got like $14 million for the season.
Who cares? That's nothing.
It's a lot of money for a six star.
Have you seen? Well, if you look at his numbers, he's no 6-star. But have you seen the deal that they're floating out there for Neil Walker? Why didn't they give that kind of deal to Daniel Murphy? What the hell?
Well, Daniel Murphy is an all-time great, and Daniel Murphy is going to be leading Team USA to victory in the World Baseball Classic. But listen, that's a little taste of what you're going to be expecting to hear on the weekly Metscast, the Metscast on EliteSportsNY.com. Next week, we're going to talk about the World Baseball Classic, John. A little more spring training talk as well. Recap, hopefully, the Knicks trading Derrick Rose. And just got the 10 out of 10 with the Oscars. Any last thoughts, John?
No. I hope the Oscars are funny, and I hope Jimmy Kimmel does a good job. I have a bad feeling.
You're a big Jimmy Kimmel fan, so I'm expecting a great monologue.
I like him. I really do. I loved him on The Man Show. I think he's funny, but I hope he doesn't fall into the pit of Trump.
Yeah, that would be terrible.
But listen, he can go after Trump. He just has to be funny. That's all. And there's plenty of funny things to go after.
Andrew will recap it next week at the 10 of 10. World Baseball Classic talk, trade deadline recap, and whatever else happens in the world of politics and more. You can catch it right here. Fourth.
the answer.